you haven't heard, the breaking news this afternoon is that the national energy market has been suspended. Talk about an energy crisis. Effectively, it's not a market anymore where companies normally bid to supply energy at certain prices. But it's now just a system where the market operator decides what power should go where, at what price. This has all been brought about by the shortage of electricity supplies, the unholy mess we've made of our power grid. And have a listen to the advice the market operator has given the people of our largest state.
What I'm saying right now is that in New South Wales, we are, in particular in New South Wales, we're concerned about the supply and demand balance for this evening and potentially tomorrow. And we would urge consumers in New South Wales only to conserve energy where it's safe to do so.
It's cold. People want to keep warm. They want to watch TV, cook their dinner. We live in a first world nation, an energy-rich first world nation. And we're being told now to conserve energy lest we run out, like it's a wartime rationing. What have we done to ourselves? How do our politicians sleep at night? All of them, state and federal, Labor and Liberal. They've done this to our country, an energy-rich country. It's a national scandal, a slow-motion train wreck that we've been warning about for 5, 10, 8, 15 years. Places like here and in the newspapers I write for. It's why you had to smile the other day when it was Sydney's northern beaches that were some of the first suburbs blacked out because of a lack of power, because of our energy crisis. Frigid weather, no power, wouldn't have been fun, and the hardship caused for so many is no laughing matter. But the reason it was ironically amusing is because this was one of those areas that voted for a teal independent, a climate alarmist, climate activist, fake independent. And of course, it's climate policies that have delivered the blackouts. They call these blackouts, the ones where power is deliberately cut off because there isn't enough supply, they call them brownouts. They should be called greenouts. They are greenouts, power outages caused by green policies. As I keep saying, we are an energy-rich nation that has chosen deliberately to make ourselves energy poor. And we've done it to make climate gestures. And yes, they are only gestures, because despite our emissions reductions in this country, global emissions continue to rise. So our efforts are all to no avail. The energy market is complex, and yes, there are all sorts of games being played by companies to maximise their profits. That's what energy companies do. Renewables, gas, coal, whatever, they all try to turn a dollar. So the key point is this, and it's really simple and really obvious, and we've been talking about it for years. The reason we have an energy crisis is that for 2 decades we've had deliberate policies, state and federal, Labor and Liberal, aimed at driving out of the energy market the energy supplies that are dispatchable. We've driven out coal and gas generators that provide power when we need it. And we've replaced them, of course, with intermittent power, renewable energy that's there sometimes and is not there at other times, and often is not there when we need it. And of course, we can't store it. So we've killed off dispatchable power and replaced it with intermittent power, and we wonder why we're in strife. We've deliberately done this. We kill off reliable power and replace it with unreliable power, and we wonder why we have an energy crisis. The Prime Minister's answer is to spend tens of billions of more dollars on transmission lines.
And then once you have that, you can have a greater use of cleaner, cheaper energy. We know that the cheapest form of new energy is renewables. So if you have that, then you will have cheap, clean energy driving advanced manufacturing.
Cheap, clean energy driving our economy. That's what they've been talking about for the last 2 decades. What you heard there from Anthony Albanese is, of course, the triumph of hope over experience. He reckons more of the same will fix the problem that it created. Once we were the lucky country, then we called ourselves the clever country. Now we've chosen to abandon our luck and our cleverness. And the people pushing this sort of stuff, like the Teal MPs, they want even more of it, with the Greens and the Labor government, They reckon the solution to our renewables-driven power crisis is, wait for it, more renewables. Nothing is quite so reliable in this space as policy idiocy.